In the early 15th century, France was in chaos. The Hundred Years' War between France and England had raged for decades. Much of the country was under English occupation, and the French crown was weak, nearly broken. Amid this darkness, a teenage girl from a small village would rise to become one of France's greatest heroes. Her name was Jeanne d'Arc, known in English as Joan of Arc. She was born in 1412 in the village of Domremy in northeastern France. Her family were poor peasants, but Joan stood out from a young age for her deep religious faith. By the time she was 13, she began to hear mysterious voices, which she later identified as Saint Michael, Saint Catherine, and Saint Margaret, telling her that she was chosen by God to lead France to victory. At first, no one believed her. A girl? A peasant? Leading armies? It was unthinkable. But Joan was determined. She cut her hair short, dressed as a man, and convinced a local commander to take her to see Charles VII, the uncrowned King of France. When Charles met her, he was desperate. His throne was in danger, and his armies were losing. Despite doubts, he agreed to let Joan accompany his forces to lift the siege of the city of Orleans, which had been under English control for months. Joan's presence on the battlefield was electrifying. Though she had no formal military training, she inspired soldiers and commanders alike with her courage and faith. Dressed in white armor and carrying a banner with religious symbols, she charged into battle alongside men who had lost hope. Against all odds, the French army, led by Joan, broke the siege of Orleans in May 1429. It was the turning point of the war. Joan quickly became a symbol of divine intervention, the Maid of Orleans, and a national heroine. After Orleans, she pushed for Charles to be crowned king. In July 1429, Charles VII was officially crowned in Reims, with Joan by his side. But Joan's mission was not yet complete. She wanted to drive the English completely out of France. In 1430, Joan was captured by the Burgundians, allies of the English. She was handed over to the English, who feared her influence and saw her as a threat. Instead of treating her as a prisoner of war, they accused her of heresy, witchcraft, and dressing like a man. Joan, only 19 years old, was put on trial in a biased and brutal court. Despite being imprisoned, threatened, and denied proper legal defense, she stood firm. She claimed that everything she did was under God's guidance. The court found her guilty, and on May 30th, 1431, Joan of Arc was burned at the stake in Rouen, crying out the name of Jesus as the flames rose around her. 25 years later, a new trial cleared her of all charges, declaring her innocent and calling her a martyr. In 1920, the Catholic Church canonized her as Saint Joan of Arc. Today, Joan of Arc is remembered not just as a saint and warrior, but as a symbol of bravery, conviction, and the power of faith, a teenage girl who changed the course of history and inspired generations long after her death.